Happy Camper Radio. On location.
Happy Camper Radio starts in 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome back once again to the Happy Camper Radio Show, the only place you need to be when you're ready to talk camping. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper, and certainly I am going to make a happy camper out of you. I am not in the studio this week. If you have been following us on social media, I am, it's kind of embarrassing to say, but no, I am not camping. I am actually in attendance at VO Atlanta 2015. This is a voiceover conference. It's being held at the Atlanta Airport Hilton Hotel. And oh, my friends, I'm telling you, I miss my tent. I miss my sleeping bag so terribly. But anyway, listen, I'm going to be doing my show from this location today. It's going to be pre-recorded, of course, and I'm going to be putting it in your ears as soon as I get it back to the studio so you can hear it and you can enjoy it. It's episode 99. This is the last of the double digits. Next week, it is episode 100 of the Happy Camper Radio Show, and I'm going to do something very special for you next week. Our phone number here at the Happy Camper Radio Show is 404-537-2267. That's 404-537-CAMP. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, add us to Circles on Google+, and you can subscribe now to our brand new YouTube channel. Very easy to do. Just go to our website, www.happycamperradio.com. You'll find all of our social media icons over there in the sidebar on the right-hand side of the page. Just click on any one of them, and you can connect with us here at the show. Let me reach out to some newcomers, some shout-outs we want to do right now. First of all, we want to say hello to Greg and Jen White, otherwise known as the Bare Naked Family of Austin, Texas. Hello to you. To Ryan Jordan of Corpus Christi, Texas. We want to say hello to Joseph Arnold Mendoza of Jacksonville, Florida. They all like us this past week on Facebook. Let's say hello to Brad Bernard, Greg House of Oakdale, California, Lorraine Verroken, Kelly Kettle of Ireland, to Todd Nystrom of Cincinnati, Ohio. All of those folks are following us on Twitter. And who else do we have here? We have Elisa Venchenko of the Ukraine, David Klar, to Kelly Ryan Jordan of Corpus Christi, Texas, and to Tiziano A. They've added us to Circles on Google+. And let's finally say hello to Thomas Grupos and to Fred Kissick. They are now subscribing to us on YouTube. Thank you also very much, each and every one of you, for being a part of this great Happy Camper Radio family. Hey, would you like to be on the show? Would you like to be my guest and be on the program and talk to me as well as anybody else who will be on the show at any given time? Well, we're going to go ahead and open that window of opportunity very soon. All you've got to do now is add us to Circles on Google+. We will be using Google Hangouts to reach out and open the window of opportunity for people who want to be on the program. So if you don't already have a Google Plus account, now's a good time to subscribe. And if you don't want to do that, just email me, Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com. I've got an interesting topic today, and I'm not putting this out here to scare anybody to death, but I want to talk with you today about camping in bear country. Have you ever done that before with your family? Here is something interesting. You know, I camp up in the North Georgia mountains quite a bit. I brag about it a lot. I think every one of us have a favorite campground or camping location that we like to visit, even if it's just once a year. Well, this area up in North Georgia where I go camping with a lot of friends and do it a couple, 3 times a year, yes, we are in bear country. Some people have no problem camping in bear country. There have been people who have been doing it for years and have never seen a bear. There are some people who have seen bears at the side of the road, and naturally, if you've got your kids in the car, they want to stop, they want to look out the window, and they want to take an opportunity to take in nature that they will probably never have an opportunity to take in again. So, am I worried about when I go camping in bear country, when I'm camping in North Georgia mountains? No. For the most part, no, I don't really have any concerns there. What's to say a bear's not going to come into camp? We don't know that. Has a bear ever come into camp while I was there? Not while I was awake. Has a bear been to camp while I was sleeping? Maybe. Hard to say. As we know, bear attacks do occur. They are very rare, and not every bear attack is going to be fatal. However, I do want to point out that in some places across the country, there are going to be places where campers will gather. They will be there for maybe the first, second, or third time in their life, and some of these people will be familiar with the bears. And some of the bears, depending upon the area you're in, you may have to take an abundance of precaution. If you're camping in an area, say in Alaska, now we know bears are in abundance in Alaska, but maybe you are camping a little bit more close to home. Say you're camping in Yellowstone National Park. You know, and I know, that there are bears all over the place, and in some cases, bears have worked their way into camp. Sometimes the bears have populated an area so much that the rangers, the forest rangers, had to restrict camping in those areas until the bears moved on. Now again, this is not to discourage people from camping, and I don't want you to have to go to any particular campground and worry about a bear tearing apart your camp and ripping you apart or anything like that. No, bear attacks are very, very rare. Now, wildlife viewing is wonderful. It's very breathtaking. I enjoy it. I've always enjoyed it as a kid. But in some cases, when you're camping, there are going to be situations where bears may decide to work their way into close proximity where humans are. And why does this happen? Well, in a lot of cases, it has to do with food. It may be something that a particular camper is cooking. It may be some food items that a group of campers may be cooking in that area. One thing that the animal experts do not want you to do, and that is have bears, especially bears, become reliant upon humans for their food consumption. Because when that happens, then the bears lose their instinct to hunt. And when that happens, everybody loses. The humans lose because bears will move into the camp. If a bear attacks a human, chances are if they identify that bear, then the bear is going to be destroyed. Everybody loses all the way around. So, we don't want that to happen. In fact, you will find out that in many areas across the country, there are going to be rules and regulations as it relates to feeding wildlife, especially bears. And you'll find out that it is illegal. You cannot feed wildlife and should not do that. In fact, go to our webpage, www.happycamperradio.com. Look in the links section under Skip's Corner. I believe I have some information on there as it relates to feeding wildlife and why you should not feed animals in the wild under any circumstances. When people come in close proximity to animals, this can present a dangerous situation in some cases. Again, like we say, if animals become reliant upon humans for food, that's no good. Some people try to get close to animals because they think animals are tame. How many times have you looked at a National Geographic video or a program on TV where people move off to the side of the road? You see a bunch of people parked looking at bears feeding up on the hillside. Yes, people were going to stop and look at that. There was a time when I was living in bear country in northwestern Pennsylvania Wow, I can remember, I'm going way back now, back into the early 1980s, between 81 and 84. You would not believe what people in that part of the country did for excitement. Every Friday night, people gathered at the county landfill to watch the bears feed on garbage. I think we only had one drive-in theater in town, and that was pretty much it. That was the only entertainment, the family entertainment you were going to find in that area. So a lot of folks went ahead and gathered together at the county landfill on Friday night to watch the bears feed. I also remember, too, that the community I was living in, we had a problem with bears there as well. Every Friday night when we put our trash out for the garbage men to pick up on Saturday morning, if there was a bear in the area, if your garbage or somebody's garbage in the area was not properly bagged and secured, and the odor of food and whatever else may have been in that bag got out, all it would take is one bear to rummage through that entire community. And when the garbage men showed up, they would pick up what they could. Everything else was left for the homeowner to come out and clean up after the bear. So, bears are attracted to odorous items, not just necessarily food, but garbage as well. Hey, have you watched anything on TV about bears feeding out of dumpsters? Yes, that's a sight to see as well. Why are they climbing in the dumpsters? Because a lot of times humans are making it very easy for them, and if those dumpsters are not secured in any way, shape, or form, sometimes the bears will climb in there, and you'll catch them coming out as well. When this happens, the wildlife experts end up moving in, and sometimes they have to trap a nuisance bear. Sometimes they move that bear to another location. I really hate to think that a bear would have to be destroyed because it is really becoming a nuisance animal. When people get close to some of these animals, they do that for the purpose of taking pictures, but it should be assumed in all cases that these bears are wild animals, because that's exactly what they are. Bears are not to be approached. I have a video at home, and I think it was one of those wildlife channels that come on TV, and the video was entitled "When Animals Attack." And a lot of times people have gotten too close to animals with the assumption that these animals are tame and they're just like animals in the zoo. I have always said, if you want to get up close to an animal, if you really enjoy wildlife that much, and there's nothing wrong with it, all right, but if you really want to get an up-close experience with the animals, either go to a zoo or go to a wildlife preserve. But I can even promise you there, too, there are going to be rules and regulations that you're going to have to follow. And most likely one of them is going to be don't feed the animals. Because chances are they're going to be on some sort of a diet. They are confined. They are there for our enjoyment. But that's about as close as you're going to get to an animal and be safe. You don't want to do that out in the woods. Now again, everything I've talked about so far, wildlife officials and park rangers do discourage this type of behavior. We must remember that these are not domesticated animals. Laws have been established to prevent the feeding of wildlife, especially grizzly bears. If grizzly bears become reliant upon food that much, for food that people leave out in areas where they're camping, or if you get a camper who is just not being careful and being a responsible camper, somebody who does not police their area before they pack up and go home, then these areas right here are going to become more attractive to the bears. And when that happens, it closes off the campgrounds for everybody to enjoy. Yes, I would love to visit Yellowstone National Park sometime. Never been there. Seen lots of videos, seen lots of pictures. It's very attractive. I think if I went there, I probably would not want to leave for maybe about a month or so. Maybe it's a retirement dream I've got here. But I certainly would hate to go out there only to find out that they have restricted camping because bears have moved in for one reason or another. And if it was because some irresponsible campers, yeah, I would probably be a little bit upset about that. Now, while grizzly bears do present a clear danger, the North American black bear has also been known to be aggressive. But at the same time, bear attacks, like I say, are very rare. In the last 140-year history of the Yellowstone National Park, only 7 people were killed in bear attacks. Your chance, as indicated on their website, your chances of being struck by lightning are a lot greater than being attacked by a bear. But again, that does not necessarily mean that campers should not be cautious. In North America, where grizzly bears are common, federal regulations require that campers suspend their food from trees in bear-proof boxes. We've talked about this before on the show. And if you go to our website, happycamperradio.com, and check out some of our affiliates that we have there on the homepage, you can probably find yourself a bear-proof container that doesn't cost a whole lot of cash, and you could probably buy it online if you plan on camping in bear country. It's something that I would encourage each and every one of you to do, because you just never know when you may be going there, and I doubt very much your local camping supply store will have a bear-proof container for you to store your food in, especially if it's one of those stores that is located in an area where bears do not frequently roam. It's probably not going to be a hot item for sale in the store, but you can definitely buy it online. Hiking and camping can be restricted in Yellowstone National Park, occasionally as a result of bear activity. Combinations of food, shelter, and space are going to draw grizzlies to some parts of Yellowstone more than others. It's happened in the past. Bear activity can be in abundance, and human access is going to be restricted or reduced because of bears and their habitat. When you arrive at any campground where there are known sightings of bears, it's always important for you to check in with the ranger stations or the visitor centers to find out about as much information as you possibly can. Again, feeding wildlife strictly prohibited. If you are camping in Yellowstone, for example, they say that you must keep at least 100 yards away from bears and wolves at all times, and 25 yards away from other wildlife. They don't want you to get close to the animals. They don't want you to become very close and attached to them. It's a good practice to get into regardless of where you're camping. You never want to camp in an area that has obvious evidence of bear activity. If you show up at the campground and you see claw marks on a tree, if you see where bears have been digging, if you see tracks that look very fresh, this is an area that you want to stay away from, because chances are if bears have been there, they are probably going to be coming back. Most likely they were there for food, and where the bears are going to start looking at is in places where they know food is in abundance. So you want to check your campsite out very carefully before spending your first night. And if you do find garbage or other food items left on the ground by some previous campers, it's recommended at that particular time that you double the distance of your camping site from that location. And you're going to go ahead and increase the distance from your cooking area as well, from the area where you sleep. Here's something else too. You probably all heard about bear repellent, bear spray. I understand it works very well if a person has to use it against a bear in a full charge. I don't want to swear by that for sure. I don't ever want to be in a situation where I have to go camping in the woods, or I want to go out on a hike somewhere and have to be carrying one of these canisters of bear pepper spray or whatever you want to call it, and consider myself to be safe. If it comes to that, I would rather go camping somewhere else. Now, one thing about bears are attracted to odors. Odorous items got to be secured from bears at all times. You want to avoid carrying or cooking odorous foods. You want to keep a clean camp too. I have been to some campgrounds before, and I have seen some people, I don't know, I don't want to go camping next to them, but you know, that does happen. But if you're going to be camping in bear country, it's going to be very important that you keep a clean camp. Do not cook or store your food in a tent. Anything that's going to attract a bear, any odorous items, need to be secured in either the bear-proof containers or in plastic bags. And you'll find out in Yellowstone, poles are going to be provided at most backcountry campsites. Using bear-proof containers, like it says, you could purchase them online, and just go to www.happycamperradio.com and you'll be able to find some information on that just by doing a quick search through some of the companies that we signed up with as affiliates. Do not leave your packs containing food unattended either, even just for a few moments. You want to sleep a minimum of 100 yards away from where you hang this food and where you cook this food and where you eat this food. So you don't want any of that food odor to be anywhere around your tent. They suggest that you hang your food bags approximately 10 feet from the ground and a minimum of 4 feet horizontally from any post or tree. Your garbage should be treated the same way as all food items as well. Here's something else too. The clothes that you are wearing while you are hiking, camping, anytime that you are consuming food, you really need to store that away in a plastic bag as well. You don't want to be bedded down at night and have food odor inside your clothing while camping in bear country, because I have heard this before. I hear bears can't hear real well. I hear they can't see very good, but I heard they got a good nose on them. So you want to avoid that. Aggressive bears, like we say, present a threat to human safety, and eventually they are going to be destroyed or removed from the park. So the best thing you can do for yourself, your family, visitors, even future campers who come to that particular campground, everybody needs to do their part to be safe, to keep the campground clean and tidy, and follow all the rules and regulations that are put forth for that matter. You can find a lot of information online just by going to any particular campground where you suspect or know there is going to be bear activity. They usually have the rules printed right there. Click on them, follow them, and again, always check in with a park ranger whenever you arrive at a campground to make sure that the campground is going to be safe and there's not going to be any additional regulations or bear warnings at that particular moment that you need to be concerned about. If you're involved in a conflict with a bear, regardless of how minor it is, definitely report it to the park ranger, your local fish or game agency. If outside the park, definitely do that as soon as possible, because the next camper's safety may depend on it. It's time now for our featured Campground of the Week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And this week, we are going to be visiting the state of Kentucky, and this campground is just about to open up. It's the Blue Heron Campground in the state of Kentucky. It's a beautiful destination, and it's not too far away from where I live, so I'm probably going to go ahead and visit there for the purpose of camping. This particular campground is very rustic and very spacious. It sits on the Kentucky side of the Big South Fork National River and Recreation Area, a vast and scenic expanse of land that offers visitors countless recreation activities. Numerous trails snake through the recreation area, offering mountain biking, hiking, horseback riding for visitors, and the main river of the Big South Fork is also a short drive away, offering great fishing opportunities. So if you're an angler and you enjoy fishing, pack your fishing bags and your fishing line, your tackle, everything you need. Just make sure you get the proper license required for you to go fishing. Campsites are very spacious. They provide picnic tables and plenty of shades, and they can accommodate both RV and tent camping. We're going to have it on our website all week long. They've got your typical amenities there, your hot showers, playground for the kids, hiking trails. Also, know before you go, and what have we been talking about today? Black bears and other wildlife do frequently the area, so visitors must, and I repeat must, follow food and garbage storage regulations. You can find a whole lot of information right there online, and also all your firewood needs to be purchased locally. So check it out. It'll be on happycamperradio.com all week long. Just click on the featured campground button and there it will be for you. It's the Blue Heron Campground in Kentucky, and it is our featured campground of the week here on the Happy Camper Radio Show. And if you have a campground that you would like for us to feature on the program, by all means, give me a shout. Skip, S-K-I-P, at happycamperradio.com. Make sure you include a link to the campground website. Well, folks, next week I am going to be back in the studio. I have just about had enough of hotel life. If I can't get home, I definitely would like to get to a campground and be in an area where I know I'm going to enjoy a better night's sleep than I am a hotel room. But, I'll tell you, I am here to have fun. I am here to learn, as a voiceover artist. This is something that I do in addition to the Happy Camper Radio Show. So, I always make sure that I learn as much as I can. I've been meeting a lot of great folks and learning a lot of great things this week. But next week, it's episode 100 of the Happy Camper Radio Show. Don't you dare miss it. We want you to be there. We'll talk about a lot of things next week, and I've got some very special things planned for our 100th episode. Hey, don't forget, you can catch us online anytime at www.happycamperradio.com. Like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter at Camp Talker, add us to circles on Google+, and subscribe to us on YouTube. The Happy Camper Radio Show is a presentation of Skip Huber Productions. I'm Skip. I am a happy camper. And no question about it, my friends, we are going to make a happy camper out of you. Be well. Talk to you next week, everybody. This is Happy Camper Radio.